Yeah, so we've had um, three-match win streak, which is good. Wrestled Purdue yesterday. Kind of from our standpoint anyway, a little bit of a boring meet. I don't think our guys did enough really to create some excitement. Friday we wrestled Maryland and won pretty comfortably. Had some good wins over the weekend. This coming week we have Wisconsin, who's a very solid dual meet team, having a great year. Following that week, we have the first round of the National Dual Meet Championship here in Champaign. We'll host Kent State on the 15th, Sunday the 15th at noon here. If we win that dual meet, we'll qualify for the Final Eight, which is in Iowa City this year. So big event for us. Obviously, the first time we're hosting it, first time in 5 years. We haven't traveled for the first round of this event, which is a nice thing too. But Kent State's a pretty solid team as well. Wrestled them last year in the national duels, and it'll be good to be home for that event. Couple of highlights, obviously, Jesse Delgado's back. Back in the lineup for the last two meets. Training's going well for him. Seems to be getting more and more confidence by the day in the practice room, and I think that'll translate over into competition at some point. But things are going well with him. Another highlight, obviously, is Isaiah Martinez, who's a freshman. He is 24, 25-0 right now. I think 24-0. He's had 20 of those matches have been won by major decision or greater, which for a freshman is really saying something. But he's been a kind of a special kid for us this year. Obviously redshirted him last year for a reason, and the reason is just he didn't have a lot of quality training partners, so I think this past year has really made a huge difference for him in terms of his development. One of those guys that gets better every day, looks forward to practice every day, can't wait to compete, and more often than not, it's a matter of us trying to settle him down on Wednesday because he's so excited to wrestle on Friday, which a guy would like to have 25 more guys just like him. But he's had a tremendous year so far, ranked number 2 in the country, and will wrestle the number 3 guy in the country against Kent State, actually. So a little extra motivation in that dual meet. A couple other highlights: Zach Brunson, ranked in the top 8 nationally. Jackson Morris is ranked in the top 8 nationally at his weight. Steven Rodriguez is hovering between 10 and 13, 14 weekly. Has had a little bit of an up and down season, but seems to be gaining a little bit more consistency and confidence, which is huge this time of year. Obviously, Zane Richards had a upset loss yesterday, ranked number 2 nationally. Just a sophomore, but feeling his way through, and he's probably at the most competitive weight in our conference. I think there's currently 11 of the 14 guys are ranked in the top 20 to 22. So he hasn't had much of a break in terms of having to compete against really good opponents week after week. So he's got a big test on Sunday, and we'll see how he responds.
What's the difference when you talk about dual meet ratings or dual meet events? How does that compare with conference, tournament? How do you stack up one as opposed to the other?
Well, the way it works is the Big Ten dual meet results dictate the Big Ten tournament seeds. So, at the end of the dual meet season, you get the results, rank guys where they're at. That's how they go into the tournament. That's how they're seeded in the tournament. So it directly reflects that in a lot of ways. There are some other factors that are considered, how you've done nationally, how you've done against common opponents not in the conference, but for the most part it's head-to-head results based on the conference. We've seen just about everybody at the Big Ten at some point this year, and with our dual meet against Wisconsin, we've seen just about everybody.
Well, are you a better dual meet team than you are?
I don't think so. I think we have the potential to be a great tournament team, provided Delgado's healthy, 100% ready to go, and we can get, we get the results we expect out of him, and we've gotten out of him. I think with Martinez, Zane Richards, Jesse, Zach Brunson, Jackson Morris, I think potentially in a tournament we could be outstanding if all those guys wrestle to their capabilities. And again, our goal is the national tournament. We want to produce All-Americans, and we want guys in the national finals, and we want guys who are winning national championships, and that's been the focus for our program for a very long time.
Anything else for Coach Heffernan? Going into your senior day Sunday, can you just talk about how Jackson and Jesse are as people other than wrestlers?
Yeah. For me, the end result is how a guy progresses, not just athletically, but emotionally and maturity-wise. That's a huge thing for me. So, it's always a bittersweet thing seeing those guys come out on senior night, looking at them when they looked like they were 12-year-old freshmen. So it's kind of an amazing development, and to me it's remarkable at how fast it goes. Those two guys in particular, very mature, both fairly quiet kids, but hardworking, mind their business, good examples I think for other guys on the team. They'll both have great futures, great people, have really matured and become independent, and ultimately that's the goal. When you leave the University of Illinois with a degree, you need to be mature, independent, free-thinking, responsible, and productive members of society, and that's the goal of our program when they come in, to be a national champion, to be productive, to graduate, get a degree, move on, and become great people. And those two certainly fit that bill, and it's tough to take a two-time national champion out of your lineup, and it's tough to take a guy like Jackson, who's been a 4-year starter, out of your lineup. And it's kind of cliche, but they're hard to replace, and those guys are very difficult to replace, not just as athletes but as people. And as a coach, you're always proud when those guys come out on senior night. After the national tournament, those guys go on and graduate in May and do great things with their life. But it's tough seeing them go, and both have meant a lot to our program, and great kids, great people, and I'm sure they'll be hugely successful in life as they move on.
Any other questions? If this team could have a weakness, you may consider it to be your heavyweights. Kepke and Black, they haven't produced seemingly as the other, like the middleweights like Martinez and lightweights like Richards and Delgado. What do they have to do towards the end of the season?
A lot of it's consistency. Kepke has had some great wins and some not so great losses. So consistency, I think, is a big key. I think, Black, you got to remember, he missed about 8 months last year with a shoulder injury, and that's 8 months of development too. So, physically, weight room, wrestling, those things make a difference. I think he's feeling his way through a little bit. He's figuring things out, but it's consistency is what it is, and competitiveness and the will to win and a lot of things, and both of them have shown signs of that throughout the year. I think Brooks had a great win on Friday against a kid from Maryland who was a former All-American. That's a big step for a freshman. Kepke has had some very good wins throughout the year, but again, consistency is a key, and consistency in a tournament where every guy you're going to face at the Big Ten tournament is a very tough opponent.